Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Clevidence and I am going to be your geometry teacher this year. Now before we actually get into the geometry lessons, we are going to start with chapter 0, which is going to be a quick review over some important concepts in Algebra 1 that you will need for geometry. So today is going to be day 1, which is algebraic expressions. Algebraic expressions. An expression is an algebraic expression if it contains sums and/or products of variables and numbers. To evaluate an algebraic expression, we're going to replace the variable or variables with the known values and then use the order of operations. Hopefully you remember the order of operations penned as parentheses first, then exponents, multiplication or division, subtraction, or addition. So here's our first example. Evaluate x minus 5 plus y if we know that x is equal to 15 and y is equal to negative 7. So let's plug everything in that we know. So x is 15 minus 5 plus our y, which is negative 7, and I can plug that right into my calculator, and I end up getting 3. So 3 is my answer. Now, the last problem was pretty easy. These two are a little bit more difficult. So evaluate each expression if k is equal to negative 2, n is equal to negative 4, and p is equal to 5. In example A here, we have a division problem with 2k plus n in the numerator, p minus 3 in the denominator. The first thing we want to do is substitute everything we know for the variables. So we have 2, k is negative 2. I'm going to put a parenthesis around that, plus n, well n is negative 4, divided by p, we know p is 5, minus 3. All right, so let's simplify the numerator. So 2 times negative 2 plus a negative 4, you can plug that right into your calculator. And when you do so, you get negative 8. In the denominator, we can also just plug that in our calculator, 5 minus 3, and that is 2. So our final answer then is negative 8 divided by 2, which is negative 4. The next question here, that really should be a B. So B is negative 3 times the quantity k squared plus 2n. So let's plug in what we know once again. K is negative 2, squaring that, plus 2 times n, which is negative 4. We need to be careful here. If we plug in negative 2 squared into our calculator, it's going to lie to us and tell us that that is negative 4. But we know that a negative times a negative is a positive. So when you plug this in your calculator, you really want to make sure it looks just like this, or break it apart. So negative 3 times negative 2 squared we know is positive 4, plus 2 times negative 4. So now if we want to plug this into our calculator, we can do so. We end up getting negative 3 times negative 4. And our final answer then is positive 12. Example 3. If you look at this example real fast, we see these bars here. Those bars are absolute value. Remember, whatever number is inside an absolute value, it becomes positive. So if it's negative 1, the absolute value changes that number to a positive 1. So let's plug in our numbers for A, B, and C in this equation. So we have 3. A is negative 2. minus b, which is negative 4. I'm going to put a parenthesis around that because we do have a negative and a subtraction sign together, plus 2 absolute value. C here is 3 minus 5. Okay, so let's look inside the absolute values. So I'm going to keep the 3 on the outside. Negative 2 minus a negative 4. If you have minus a negative, that actually becomes a positive. So negative 2 plus 4 is going to be a positive 2. Plus 2 times absolute value, we have 3 minus 5. Well, 3 minus 5 is a negative 2. Close the absolute value. So for the first absolute value, we have a positive 2, which means it's going to stay positive. In the second absolute value, we have a negative 2, which changes it to a positive 2. And 3 times 2 plus 2 times 2 is 10. So our final answer is 10. Next, we're going to talk about identifying the different parts of an algebraic expression. Our algebraic expression here is 2x plus 4y minus 9. First thing we want to look at are the variables. Variables are just the letters in the expression. So our variables here are x and y. Coefficient are those numbers in front of the variable. So in this example is 2 and 4. A constant is a number that does not have a variable associated with it. So 9 is going to be our constant. And the terms here, terms are what is made up with the expression. So 2x, 4y, and negative 9, those are all the terms in the algebraic expression. So for our last example here, we have an algebraic expression. Let's identify all the different parts. So we're going to start by identifying the terms. All right, well, the first term is going to be 9m. That's the first part of the expression. Then I see a negative 5n. Now remember that subtraction is really just a negative. Then we have a positive 2. We have an m. And then we have a negative 7. So those are all the different terms. All right, so looking at these different terms, like terms. Like terms are things that look the same. So for example, 9m and m, those are like terms. They both have the variable n. And we also have 2 and negative 7. Those are constant terms. Coefficients. So coefficients are the numbers in front of letters. So we have 9 because 9 is in front of the m. We have negative 5 because negative 5 is in front of the n. And if we look at this m here, there's no number that we see in front of it, but we do know that there's an imaginary 1. So those are our coefficients. And then lastly, our constants. Our constants are the numbers without variables, and we see that that is 2 and negative 7.